Us,
Us.
everyone. Shihan Sean. Trust everyone's well. Welcome back to the Kyokushin Shuffle. No guest today. Recap of the busy month and a half we've had, and more of a catch up on the guests we've had and the fortune of that, and sharing with everyone what's been happening, what's ahead, and what we have planned as well. Thanks to everyone supporting us and listening over the last. Well, geez, Sean, we're late August. Can you believe it?
Yeah,
And
no.
I'm trying to flash back to when we started this just now, but it's obviously just flown. But how are you? I hear it's boiling in Japan.
Oh, yeah, mate. Yeah, I don't even want to look at the weather app on my phone right now. It's probably just going to say sod off or something like that to me, Yeah, no, it's about what? It's coming towards the end of summer. It's about 37, 36, 37 most days, which would be nice in a dry heat, but we're talking about, 1,000,000,000% humidity. You just sweat thinking about going outside, and everyone cranks up the AC, and
Are people cranky when are people meaning the Japanese / over there? Are they cranky people like Aussie here? It's hot. You just stay away from others.
No, not really. I mean, it's not environmentally friendly by any stretch of imagination, but they've got ACs for ACs for ACs. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Now all these little handheld fans, and they've got like ice sort of neck things. And I mean, and the thing that gets me, like, I can understand people wanting to, avoid getting sunburnt and stuff like that, but you've got guys walking around with these sun umbrellas now, and it's not the right look, eh? I mean, I just, call me old fashioned, but oh man, so yeah, you get on the trains, you go into the buildings, you're nice and comfortable. Once you step outside, it just hits you. And I mean, when you're training, of course, it doesn't help at all, because it doesn't matter how cranked up the AC might be wherever you're training, or whether you just got the windows open, it hits you. So you got to, I think people train a lot smarter now. You have those small water breaks, and that weren't the thing back in the day. You couldn't drink water, So they're a bit more careful in that regard. But yeah, no, I mean,
so
summer camps.
They
usually pick spots that are closer to the mountains, so you don't get all that humidity, and you get a bit more of a breeze and that. So they're careful like that. So all the factions are doing the summer camps at the moment. Because during August there's roughly a week-long national holiday that's usually set to commemorate deceased relatives and stuff like that. But a whole lot of companies take time off. So, and you've got all the kids on summer break here. So it's a good time for them to doing all their camps. So, you'll see on all the websites photos of people doing camps and stuff like that. So yeah, no, busy time of the year. But it's not a heat you get used to. It's a heat you learn to tolerate. But they don't get cranky. They just live with it and say, well, it's part and parcel of summer in Japan.
I say it in jest of when it gets hot here in Melbourne / again, there's different climate in Australia. Melbourne's obviously south of Australia, but our heat can get to, the high 30s, early 40s. And again, not to be old fashioned or hardball here, but it sometimes motivates me more. Like I go, right, we've got to be at the dojo. And then people go, hey, it's going to be just too hot, Sensei Pat. It's just going to be too hot. And I'm like, this is the time to try and, go a little bit.
Get out your comfort zone,
and go a little bit further. And our dojo has 4 windows about the size of, a 2-cent coin. And, and then they're like, and there is AC, but so what is the, I guess, the norm there with dojos in the summer? Is it keep the aircon on? Or I guess you've been taught by different teachers at many times. Are they like, shut the door, shut the window, bad luck?
Yeah.
Like when we read in the books like Judd and Nicholas Pettis, they talk about how hot and how humid, and you open the window and it's maybe even worse.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's that. I mean, it really depends where the dojo is. If they're renting out a space in a gymnasium, so to speak, and you've got all these public sort of run gymnasiums and that, they're all cranked up anyway. So you've got no choice. The office there controls all that. But if you've got the older established dojos where they're renting a floor in an apartment building or something like that, it's old school. It's, they'll have the windows open. They're a bit better with, sort of water breaks here and there between maybe Kihon and Idogeko, but you've got your old school people as well say, well, the window's open, that's good enough. Let's just push through. So yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag. But they're pretty good with time and stuff like that. So they'll run through different things. You'll have a small break.
Yeah.
And to get your sort of mind set for the next thing. And maybe now, like I said, they're a bit better with saying, well, take a quick swig of water and let's get on. So they're a bit better than that. Yeah.
We do that. After some certain students, again, around the traps, when you catch up with certain students, and even I had one or two where kidney stones, right? Kidney stones of your generation, a little bit of mine, that tried to push through their training in those conditions, didn't have that bit of water, and now they're hurting from it. They're like, oh shit, it's just accumulated over time. And kidney stones, I remember like older people, like 60s, 70s, and some of our students are in that age as well in my dojo. And it's like, shit, you've got to slow down a bit, drink your water, drink your electrolytes, keep that going under circumstances that, again, let's not, be stupid with our I call it the hardware and the software side of things. The hardware is your muscles, the software is your internal organs and your brain, and how we got to take care of that. You get dehydrated up here and the brain starts to slow down, like in those long gradings. And then, there's bound to be something that could happen, functionally, internally. So, that's a good reminder for everyone, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey,
a lot now sports science is sort of helping out in that way. They don't have to be the tough sort of grind, push through for the sake of your body. I mean, they're a bit smarter the way they go about it now, even here, which is good.
Yeah. Hey, so I was saying,
we had a busy July. I think we did quite well. I think we pumped out 3.
Yeah.
So we gave everyone a break because they probably would have been, got a bit sick of hearing our voices and that. But we, recapping on July, I thought it was really good because we got onto a bit of a roll in terms of getting guests on. Having Nick on first, which was really good. And a new sort of look at Nick, because I think when you interview him, you tend to go back to the old days and that, but it was good just to see what he's doing now and just to feel that love of getting him back on the floor and giving back. That's what I took away from that. What did you take away from it?
Yeah, and I liked our listeners' responses and messages back to us, some private and some more on the YouTube, of everyone else saying great to see him upbeat and, his positive energy approach to things. And again, I think the timing of us catching him after, because we did have that chat, didn't we, Shihan? We were like, do we catch him before he goes, or how do we go with timing? And then he said, catch me afterwards, no problem. And the momentum was there. But definitely with Nicholas, there's a lot of I'm contagious. I say positive energy is contagious, right? It's a saying I use, and I believe in that a lot. And I felt that massively. And even Shihan, in my previous interviews, when I did it solo, and I had those guests on during that time when it was COVID, I needed that sanity of positive reinforcement of what I was doing was good, or giving back in some way. And when we got him back on, and we'll segue to Kyoshi Jimmy in a minute, but we definitely got some really good positive energy out of that. And we let him know, and we had a good chat afterwards with him, and he was like, yeah, that was great, so that was fun.
Yeah, well, he's keen to get back on at different stages, which was really good to hear. Then hearing from Sam and what's going on in the Shin Kyokushin world.
Yeah.
And again, a different perspective. It wasn't your run-of-the-mill, okay, this is what's happening, throw out a few names. He was actually able to go into some depth on his perceptions on how a well-run tournament is defined here.
Yeah.
His role, all of those things. And I mean, as we get towards the end of the year, and we'll go into this a bit later, there's a few big tournaments coming up. So that gives us a chance to get him back on, plus his field. I mean, the thing I took away from Sam's chat was towards the end when he was talking about he's starting to dabble in jiu-jitsu now and BJJ, and how it's opened his eyes to the benefits of cross-training how it's good to be a beginner again. But it'd be great to go back and talk maybe a bit later on what he does professionally, because he runs a sports institute, where he's doing a lot of private lessons, but he's really a mastermind in his field. So it'd be great to maybe talk about what kind of influence or input he's had on not just the foreigners training in Japan, but I guess his dealings with the Japanese as well. So that'd be another interesting thing.
I think with Sam, my side of it was he's obviously exceptionally knowledgeable with his profession, and he's got his own channels, and he's written an amazing book as well for those that were interested. And on top of that, he runs his own podcast. So he's very active and in the moment of, learning and pursuing knowledge day in, day out. And that's inspiring as well, right? He's a fourth Dan. He was one of our top Aussie fighters when he was here in his early or late teens, early 20s. I never got to compete against him. He was in heavyweight and I was still a rookie, a pup coming through.
Right.
So he was 4 or 5 years ahead of me in the open division. But so we never got to cross paths in the tournament arena, but what a career he had. And I think we kind of, it's not the right word, but I mean, he's very, very well respected in the Kyokushin world, but because he took his teacher, Shihan Tsukamoto, to like a semi-final, and I don't think that's spoken of enough. We have had, and again, how much is too much in regards to, a catch-up session and just talking about, but yeah, he's got a lot to pass on, and what another perspective he gave us with a world-class organization and tournament. It blew me away with the way it was, the formalities of it, and how professional it was done.
Yeah, how everything runs like clockwork. And yeah, I mean, if anyone hasn't, if there are people out there that haven't seen Sam fight, it's pretty easy. Just go on YouTube, put in Sam and Tsukamoto. Man, he was a machine, and he took it to Tsukamoto, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And which is a big thing, because that guy is sort of one of the goats, especially in Shin-Kyokushin. Real nice guy.
Yeah.
Off the mat, he'll give you the shirt off his back. But once he gets into fighting mode, that guy was just an absolute machine in his day. So for Sam to take him to the very edge like he did, and he fought smart too. It's a great fight to watch. So yeah, definitely check that out.
Like I do with you when I send you text messages, he's someone we should try and get as a chat.
Definitely.
Let's see how we go.
No. Well, that's that was it. I mean, we've talked about getting Japanese guests on, and we got Narushima Shihan on.
Well done.
And a mate of mine who does a different style, but one thing he said to me recently, he goes, part of his journey now is that he enjoys giving back, after all the years he's spent, and he's an instructor. But what he's really focused on now is being humbled, not being humble, but being humbled.
Right.
And when he said that to me recently, and I thought, hold on, that's what happened during that Narushima chat. That here's a guy that I've, looked at and been inspired by for many years, just for what he's achieved and just how technically proficient he is, and just what a machine he is. But what I was humbled by was his demeanor. In that chat, he was just so down to earth.
Sure.
And, maybe it wasn't conveyed as much because I was doing the interpreting, but it was so easy to interpret for him, because he just kept things really simple and he didn't gloat. And when he was talking about his recent trips overseas, he was talking about the joy he took. I mean, that was one of the key words, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To enjoy your karate, to enjoy your journey. He can turn on the hard ass part of it at any stage, because that's the way he's been molded. But just the way he conveys that now, he never talked about himself. He waited for questions to be asked, but he talked about the delight he had in seeing how passionate everyone was around the world, and that he wants to contribute to that. And now he can, being part of the KWU, and he's active in Japan, and you know, he'll put his students in tournaments, and in recent posts he's put on social media, he'll put KWU in the hashtag part of it. So he's really, you know, showing this as part of a group identity. That was one thing I was humbled by, that someone of his caliber, someone of his stature will give you the time of day, will keep things pretty simple, and then said at the end of it, you know, in the future, if you want to get me back on, I'm always available. So, you know, there was a few questions and things that came up afterwards. You know, people would like to know, you know, what his training regime was for his own fighting career, what it is now for his up-and-coming fighters and his dojo and stuff. So maybe the next time we get him on, we can really focus on that side of things. Because, you know, the one thing he did talk about was this ichigeki sort of, you know, persona that he has whenever he goes into fight. And how does he convey that, or how does he instill that into his students? And you know, the training methods he uses to do that. Maybe it goes back to what Nick was saying, the old school, you know, just train at 150% from your basics. Everything you do, don't glide, don't sort of pace yourself, just push yourself constantly. Maybe that's it. Like you always say, the secret's in the sweat. But it'd be nice to sort of dig a bit deeper and sort of see if there's any gems we can take away from that. So,
my side of that was it was awe-inspiring, like, meaning when our dojo, so middleweight fighter, 84 kilos, you know, anywhere between 80 to 84 kilos my whole career, right? But once I finished in 2016, my students were coming through, and I had a young gun and still have, but Johnny is his name, and lightweight. And he and I, again, you know, we kind of look up to all those GOAT fighters, but mine was Kazumi and Masuda and Kurosawa. You know, Matsui's always there, and Gary O'Neill's there, and Judd Reed's are there, and Nicholas Pettis. But there were those three that I just had the footwork and the flow and the hands. Johnny, we looked at Narashima, and he loved him, loved. And so we watched a lot of whatever we could of Narashima as lightweight, you know, quick, fast, had good high kicks, beautiful sets, patience, very controlled, and all these facets, you know, I love to analyze. So I was invested in his journey as a Narashima, you know, prospect. You know, we used him as the prototype for Johnny, and Johnny went on to win Colts, Australian champion Colts, and we took a big part of that from Narashima. And then he progressed into the adults a little bit, and then he's gone to uni, and he's now got a career. But, you know, as an adult fighter, we couldn't get to that point with him. But when he's sitting side by side, you know, to us, and he's aged, but he still shows his class in regards to sharing his knowledge, passing it on, because you see these goats like Nicholas and Narashima who we've had, and you're not sure how much, and like I said to you, we don't know how much they're going to share or how much they want to share. And where does that sit in the Kyokushin landscape, you know? Training jiu-jitsu the past year and a bit, there's so many instructors and masters, and, you know, we call them senseis, but they've got professors and so forth, right? They just share everything. They just share everything. They've got video footage of this, video footage of that, this tip here, move your elbow here, move this there. And I feel that we've got it out there. You know, Shihan Takuma has 100,000 followers that now his YouTube channel / he's sharing back certain things. There's many out there, but Shihan Narashima, I'd never found an interview of this kind. I'd never seen a specific of what his mindset. So that was really special from my end to get a little taste of that. And then my student wrote, when we put it up saying he's on, he was blown away. So then that energy came back to me with, he's like, "Are you joking?" And I'm like, "Mate, Shihan Sean's got, you know, took care of it, and we're on." So that was another great moment as well, to feel that energy back again from a student, you know?
Yeah. And that's the way we can be humbled, you know, that we know we're doing something that, you know, I mean, going back to that these people are willing to share that. and not hide anything or not, hold back, because they want to pass on what they've gained. And it's just that snowball effect, isn't it? That you keep going, and you don't hog all this knowledge to yourself.
Your
responsibility is to pass on your journey. When, you're talking about fighters, I think what your approach is gold, because there's not a one size fits all when you come to training fighters. You've got to look at their own quirks, their physical makeup.
Yep.
And then if you've got someone you can, it's like any high performance sport.
Yeah.
The analysis is so important right now. So if you can find someone they can emulate because they move the same, or they have the same flexibility. With Narushima, he was a very smart fighter and knew that in open tournaments, he would have a disadvantage when it came to weight or height. So how did he compensate? So he's a very reactive fighter. If you go back and you look at it,
yes,
his counter techniques,
yes,
he knows how it works and how to set up different combinations and so on and so forth. So if we can sort of get him back on and talk about those aspects and what he could share, it's not as good as maybe being on the floor with him, but it's a pretty good close second, So
yeah, I think we take that for granted, and again, I'm not talking on behalf of everyone in the full contact karate world, but just in conversation, we take for granted that our art, Kyokushin, has this open division, right? From 60 odd kilos, most of the males, and then I'll include the females with their weight side of it. It's all the way up to a potential 120. We would go in, and then we have to understand the specifics of that, right? Boxing, UFC, he's cut weight, he's 2 kilos over, 1 kilo over, and yes, there's striking to the face and the head, which is, very difficult, but a kick to the head by 110 kilo person to an 80 kilo person. Hey, man. Hey, same, but different, right? Very
different. Yeah.
And
exactly.
I think we, again, back to that strongest karate theme, I'm just getting a flashback here of, we have to continue to hear these other legends, and even those of us that are teaching the up and coming, champions, in them understanding that difference. And that's why I say, that's why we're the strongest. That's why we're the hardest. You get to open, it's on. It doesn't matter, female, male, you're on, you're up against this power, this strength, this and that. So he typified that, didn't he?
Well, yeah. And I mean, it's an interesting thing you say that, because, this, and it's again, trying to get away from this one size fits all. We're given a blueprint, and okay, what is your strongest karate? One of the Shihans, one of the elders in New Zealand, Shihan Alex, in the camp, while I was there on sabbatical, he's very philosophical, in his early 70s now, I guess. But when he was taking one of the sessions at the camps, one of the things that struck a chord with me was that he said, okay, the dojo-kun, right? And when we recite it at the end of training, we start off, we will strive, etc. and so forth, right? Now, he said, yeah, that's great, because we're in a dojo setting. We've all trained hard together. He said, but sometimes you just got to sit back and take the we out and put the I in and personalize it.
Sure.
I will. So when we talk about the strongest karate, everyone's different. So, okay, what is your strongest? What's your own personal definition? And once that's clear in your head, then you can sort of mold the base you're given from the training you do,
right,
and sort of tweak it to your own. So, I mean, going back to fighting, Sensei Pete Parson in New Zealand, tall guy, but he just knew how to fight. His strongest karate. He knew what his strongest karate meant. He didn't try and match the flexibility or the high kicks or the flashy techniques of others.
Yeah.
He was just very, very simple, hard, precise. Is probably the best way to explain it. And he just knew what worked for him, and he built his armor around that. So we're not trying to copy someone else 100%.
No.
We're trying to take some of the gems away from them and then mold them into our own. So, I mean, it's one thing I took away from all of those discussions, actually. Yeah.
One last one, when I spoke to my wife, and it just popped up with your summary then, was how Shihan Narashima said that he appreciates more, again, changed my wording on it, but he appreciated more the non-fighting students, those that are not there to be world champ, but have taken the risk and sacrifice and dedication to get on this journey. And I have those students. I have lots of those students. And it really hit me, like, as in, again, hit me in the reminder of, right? Yeah. So, and Shihan Billy would always say to me, Shihan Billy would say, Pat, always remember, not everyone's like you, mate. Not everyone's going to be like you in passion and, you know, all those things that I would pride myself on. Others have that, but in other means. And he mentioned it in that way, didn't he? I think he did, gesturing at that. And again, you know, out of the 20 odd students and adults, we're talking male and female in our dojo, 2 or 3 are full contact committed fighters in my dojo. And we kind of pride ourselves in that, you know, we use that chance. And we'll segue to the nationals in a minute, but the others, you know, professionals working their asses off, trying to give their love and health and well-being towards something, and they've picked this, for crying out loud, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's what we've got to be humbled by as well. I mean, maybe I'll use that as a keyword in today's chat, but humbled by the fact that these people have chosen to take time out of their day to come down and train with us. So as instructors, our responsibility is to sort of be able to analyze what are the needs and the ambitions of each of the people in the dojo. You know, we've got a training regime, we've got a flow to it all, but how do we instill different confidence? How do we instill different sort of skill sets for each of those types of student? You know, so, and, you know, it's hard. It's really hard to do that. You can't please everyone.
No.
But if you've got the hard-ass fighters in the dojo, that's great. That's something everyone can be proud of, because, you know, you get to see it on a day-to-day basis by training with them.
Correct.
But maybe your goal is to be more flexible, to be fitter, to be more confident in yourself. Everyone's got a different goal and a different motivation. So when we can tap into those, then we get to keep them. You know, there's that old saying that, you know, out of every 1,000 students, only one will make it to black belt. I don't really know the stats, to be honest. To me, and this is one thing I find training in Japan and training, you know, back in New Zealand and other places as well, that this black belt thing is defined so differently. In Japan, it's just part of the journey. It's not the end goal.
Sure.
And so that's why, you know, you may only do 10 fights for a Shodan grading here.
Sure.
You know, they're testing your basics. It's an apprenticeship. Where do you take it from there is up to you. Whereas I think the way I was, you know, sort of thrown into the world of martial arts, that was the ultimate goal back in the day.
Sure.
To be this badass black belt, to get, you know, to get that black piece of cloth to put around your waist because it looked cool or made you a badass or whatever. And then I've seen so many people get to Shodan and then just peter away.
Absolutely.
You know, just sort of fade away, I should say.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, hold on. That's where the real sort of learning begins.
Right.
You know, that you've done your apprenticeship. Now you're going to polish your trade, and then you're going to find your own new journey from it. You know, you might not be a fighter, but you might be a great fighter trainer. You know what I mean? Because you've got that experience. So if we can, you know, in Japan, you know, once someone gets a Shodan, it's like, okay, well, you've got it. So what? Okay, let's keep going.
Nice.
You know, and they keep going. That longevity is a bit different. You know, people don't stop as much at black belt as I've seen in the past overseas. It's not a quick fix. It's just one part of the journey. It's you know, one destination. Now, what's the next? So
that's a good
interesting things to think about there too. But anyway, you mentioned the nationals, so you're
so nice recap of our guests there, which we wanted to do. So just in what was happening here, I wanted to share with you. And again, it is the Japan Chronicles, but it's in sharing what's going on in this episode. So we just got back from the AKKA Nationals in Sydney, which was a great success. It's a 46th or 47th year running tournament here in Australia, Shihan. Wow. Consecutively under Hunchy John Taylor. So a very credible tournament that many of our masters have successfully won back in the day when it was under one group. And this organization had it on, the Sydney Opera House back in the 80s, where Kyoshi Jimmy won it, and those types of.
Sosai was there,
Sosai was, as a guest. So that was on last weekend. Our dojo was successful with one of our intermediate middleweights, which was great. But the whole tournament as a whole was fantastic, and again positive, in regards to numbers and good quality people and all masters and senseis coming together, and that like-minded weekend of crash and bash and let's go and give it a good shot. And again, that fires me up, and it fires many up in regards to how that's going. So we just had that, which was great. There is a couple of groups that are running their own Australia Cups or titles as such, which is a positive, but then also the backlash of why can't we all just get one Australian champion? But we've been flexible in certain tournaments, in regards to again the Australian delegates of seniors, that own that run their organizations, to be flexible, and it's been and it always has been that way. It's just now difficult in a way to prepare for which tournament. So we committed to that one, but then Kyokushin under Shihan Cameron Quinn, they've got theirs as a plug there for you, for that team, that group, in October. Then there is others preparing for the Shin Kyokushin World Cup, World Tournament in October, November. Then the Matsushima team is preparing for their World Cup in Chile in November, December. And again, not to plug my side of things, I try not to do it too much, but then I have the 50 rounds, we call it 50 round, 1 minute rounds. Once a month, I run them. And I like to get all of us together. So in that room, I've got the Shin Kyokushin champion, the Matsushima champion, the Kyokushin, sometimes pops in. The Zen Kyokushin champions are in there. Who else is it? Yeah, a beautiful spread of champions and world tournament, and we work together. There's 30 of us roughly in my dojo space, and we do 50 by 1 minute rounds, and at 80%, 75, 80%, good workout, good session. So that's in readiness for September, October, November. And then in December, 90% of the dojos here we have an end of year grading for the seniors. And then we're going in that process at the moment. So great events happening, more fighters progressing because of all these different events. But now we're trying to timeline, who can we get in at what tournament, who's ready, who's not ready, which is then given the flexibility and the fortune of guys like me that were, hey, let's go in 6 tournaments a year if you keep your body right. But then because of that, it gives everyone the option now, right? So you can pick and choose where you can go, which is good and bad as well. If there's going to be some good fighters in some others are missing out in others, right?
Yeah,
we're back. We're I don't know how it's going to happen. It's again. I kind of think at times in sharing with you that Sosai wanted it this way. The bigger, the better, the more it's spread. Go for it. But yes, we can't get that one certain champion in certain countries because there's 4 different groups now. But I think that the caliber has, there is a good spread of people now, men and women, girls and boys, kids and teens, going. So that's a bit of the flavor. That's a bit of the flavor from us at the moment.
Well, I can't remember when it was. It might have been the second episode or something when I was talking about the Shibuchokai, the old branch chiefs association, where some of those different factions like the Union and Zen Kyokushin and that have come together to they ran that initial nationals to see if it had any sort of worth on developing. Maybe that's something that can happen. If that's successful in Japan, it acts as a model for you guys. And I mean, just thinking like with Shihan Judd, he has his fight nights, right? And he gets people from within Australia, from overseas. He's very creative in the way that he can each time have a different makeup of people, whether it be domestically or internationally, which keeps, I guess, things thriving. And also what he's really good with is it's non-political. It's just like get on the mat, and he matches people up really well. So they're always really good fights to watch. But who's not to say that can't act as a model for when you have all these different factions running their own tournaments. And let's put IK1 aside for now, because they have a lot of rules and regulations that we've learned about that they're not allowed to interact with others. But all of the other ones, just like you said now, with Hanshi John Taylor, with Kyoshi, Jimmy, with what you're doing, with what Judd's doing, who's not to say that one day you could get champions from each of those tournaments, use Shihan Judd's model and say, okay, let's have a champions night where you get the champions from each of these to come together for an ultimate sort of, one train, tournament.
I have gestured that to the powers to be, and to do it as a end of year. So do all your tournaments, get all your champions, and then aim for an end of year / November, finish it off with a bang. So it has been put to the powers to be. Time will tell.
Well, I mean, because it goes back to the old days where, and this is something that's never been done in Japan. It's a totally overseas concept, but you might remember back in the day they used to have they used the sumo term, the yokozuna fight, where you had people in the heavyweight and the middleweight when it was a weight division tournament. So if you had the winner in the middleweight and the heavyweight, they would then fight off for the yokozuna title, which is the top tier of sumo, right? So it's kind of going back to that in a way, where you could get all these champions from these different tournaments to say, okay, let's put all these belts together, for one fight, and see who's the champion this year out of all of the champions. So the champion of the champion series or something like that. Well, it's a concept I think could work quite well.
WBC, WBF, WB this, WB that in boxing, and then they walk around with 4 belts, 9 belts, 8 belts. Canelo comes out and just boom, 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 and it's something.
Test drive it in Australia, and then if it goes well, say, okay, well, let's open it up to New Zealand as well. So you get the New Zealand champion coming over. It's a work in progress, but you could slowly build something that was really good. So because here towards getting back to the tournament scene, at the end of this year. So as Sensei Sam was telling us, in October they have the Shin Kyokushin World Champs. Then in November there is the IKO1 World Champs this year.
Wow!
And that's mid-November. So I think it's something like the 17th, 18th, something like that, 18th, 19th, or something like that. Then a week later, you've got the second Seoul Kyokushin World Tournament. So you were at the first in 2016.
Yes.
They were going to run one in 2020, but COVID sort of put the brakes on that. So they're running it in the same place in Shizuoka. So Matsui's faction, that's always been in Tokyo. Shin Kyokushin is in Tokyo, but because Oishi Hanshi is his base is Shizuoka. So they do it in that big convention hall, the Grand Ship, right? Beautiful place. Right. So they're running theirs on the 25th and 26th of November. So I'm going to try and get along to that and have a look. And maybe get my iPhone out and record a bit of stuff for a chat and try and butter up some people for some interviews afterwards. So
that's exciting. Well,
yeah.
Listen, we've got a couple of 4 or 5 minutes left. So let's give it. So just for those, again, those who am I talking to here? For all of you listening, in regards to who we're trying to get next in our wish list, as I call it in my sales world. But Shihan Sean has a couple that he's connected with. So who did you try to hit up last week, or who have we tried to email?
Okay, yeah. With? So I've sent an email to Kazumi Hajime. Yeah.
How cool.
And waiting to get a reply on that. Also, I'm going to approach Masada Shihan soon.
Yes.
Because now we've had Narushima Shihan on, and because of their connection with KW, and also with Senpai Philip, our Irish brother who's training with Masada Shihan. So I can go around it. I can go about it the right way and get an introduction and try and get him on as well. There's also a couple of others I'm thinking of. One person is a young guy. His name's Takahashi. He was very successful in ICO 1.
Yes.
Started to run his own dojo now. Is very active in many different tournaments, regional and national tournaments.
That's good.
From what I hear, he's a very approachable guy. So I'm going to try and get hold of him as well, just to keep things, diverse.
Lots on.
It's always lots on. A couple of others in the works. One used to be one of the first lieutenants of Oishi Hanshi, a guy, Serizawa Shihan, who runs his own break off from Kyokushin now, but very successful. I've known him for many years. So he's one of the old school people. But again, I think he's about the same age as me. He's 54, 55. Really approachable guy, so it'd be nice to get him on as well. So there's a few there that can look objectively at the Kyokushin world, because they've taken a step away, but their foundation is Kyokushin. So trying to keep it as diverse, but with a good mixture of the past and present is the sort of the goal for the upcoming guests.
Good one. The one from at my end is and I've just got to connect back with him, is the voice. So the voice. Michael Chavello, the voice of K1. He and I go good buddies in a way, and he was more than happy. He was just finishing up the World Cup soccer as a commentator for the female World Cup soccer. So I will reach out to him hopefully in the next week, or maybe he could be anytime, Shihan. So be ready. He could go, I'm good to go tomorrow or next week. So we'll be ready for that to talk up the K1. And again, because of the lineage of Matsui being and IKO 1 were in that press conference. So very interesting. Very interested to hear what he's got to say.
Good. Excellent. Yeah, well, K1 is, it sort of died, died out a bit, but recently they sort of tried to revamp things. And as you said, Matsui Kancho has set up an agreement with the K1 here in Japan so he can get fighters into it. So there's a big press conference.
Good eye.
Something we can talk about another day, but it would be great to hear his view on things, and being on the inside, what would be good to look forward to with regards to the upcoming K1 events as well.
Thank you, Shihan Sean. Awesome. Look at that little catch up / we could go for another 2 hours about everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Listeners, thanks so much. A big
one more thing. Sorry.
Go on.
One more thing. Yeah. So thanks to everyone for their support. Thanks to everyone for their comments. Great to see all the views of the different episodes. I think the Narushima Shihan interview has gone over 700 views now, which is great, which means a lot of people are taking the time to listen. So thank you for that. We're 17 subscribers shy of 1,000. And again, we're not doing this to make a living. Actually, we'll never make a living out of this. We're doing this to just try and get a bit more interaction. This is much everyone's, platform is ours. We're just driving the bus, but you're the passengers. So if there are things you want us to try and talk about or to get people on, definitely do that. Also, if you, for the listeners, if you haven't subscribed yet, please, it'd just be great to have 1,000 there.
Yeah, and then we'll leave you alone.
And then we'll leave you alone, because we don't say it often. Click like,
don't,
because that's not us. But it would just be nice to reach that milestone, so we're motivated to do more. Plus, the more listeners we have, the more ideas come out. What is it you want to know about Japan, the Japan Chronicles? What are the things you want us to talk about, or who do you want us to try and get on? If you can let us know, then we'll do our best to make that happen.
Awesome, Shihan. Thank you so much. Thanks, listeners. Keep training hard. Secret is sweat. Big wish to everyone. Awesome, everyone. Thanks, Shihan. Appreciate it.
Thank you.